What's happening with the Edmonton real estate market? Well, thank you for asking. Hi, I'm Brent MacIntosh. I'm the team leader at the MacIntosh Group at Remax River City, and I have the numbers from June 2022 from the Edmonton Real Estate Board, and this is my monthly market update. Thanks for clicking play. There were a few less single-family homes listed in June, 2,568, compared to May of this year, where there were 2,731. But as you might know, overall for 2022, there have been more listings in total. There have been 12,799 single-family homes listed in Edmonton versus last year when we had 11,840, about 1,000 more, or 8% more than last year. As far as condos go, there have been 1,183 condos listed in June versus 1,378 in May and 1,280 in June of last year. This year, there have been a total of 6,916 condos in Edmonton listed so far versus 6,950 at the same time last year. So virtually the exact same amount of condominiums listed in 2022 versus 2021. There have been 1,534 single-family sales for the month of June. That number is a little low in comparison. Last June, there were 1,671, and in May, there was 1,736. The busiest month of the year, if you've been watching these market updates from me this year, was March, when we had 1,920 sales. So that was the peak of our single-family sales market, and that's when prices were at the highest as well. For total sales, there have been 9,069 sales compared to last year, where we had 8,637 by the same time. If we compare that number to a pre-COVID year, in 2019, there were only 5,271 sales by the same time. So the 2022 sales are up by 72% compared to 2019. When we look at condominiums, there were 689 condominiums sold in June versus 720 in May and 677 in June of last year. So those numbers are all very similar. The early part of the year, again, was the busiest, but when we look at total sales, there have been 3,872 total sales versus 2,973 at the same time in 2021. And if we go back to pre-COVID years, let's go back to 2019, there were 2,068 sales by the end of June for condominiums. So although it feels slower, we've actually seen an increase of 87% for condominium sales compared to pre-COVID. Let's talk values, because that's usually what's on people's minds. When we look at the median sales price for single-family homes in Edmonton, it peaked in March when it was at $468,075. It dropped to $466 in April, dropped again in May to $455, and now at the end of June, it's $456,100. Still higher, though, than it was a year ago when it was at $423,000. The condo median sales price peaked in March as well. That was $225,000. It dropped in April to $220,000. It stayed at $220,000 in May, and now in June it's at $221,000. Down a bit from June of last year when it was at $223,000. So the single-family house price is up quite a bit from a year ago, but the condominium median sales price is down by $2,000 from a year ago. Acreage listings, well, they're about the exact same, by the way. We're not seeing a huge fluctuation in acreages, steady Eddie as it goes. If you have an acreage and want a little bit more information, then call us directly. Or if you have a house and you're thinking about selling, well, you should call us immediately. We're at 780-464-0075 or find us on the web, macintoshgroup.ca. We'd be happy to provide a complimentary market evaluation at no obligation and obviously no cost and no pressure. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer.